I'm Brandon Harrison, and I'm Associate Features Programmer for Doc NYC. I'm very pleased to welcome director José Permar from Off of the Road. Jose, how are you doing?
Hello, Brandon. Nice. How are you?
I'm great. I enjoyed your film. I'm sure as everyone who's here in our digital talk Q&A enjoyed it as well. I wanted to talk to you about the visual style. Your team, it, it's masterful visually. Were there any inspirations or films
Thanks.
you took from that you really wanted to create this Western vibe?
Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, about the visuals. We we I born in that town. I'm not exactly in the town, but in that region. So for me, it was like very natural to use like these kind of landscapes. And then when it wasn't in my mind before, but when I was showing some pictures of the film or sharing my idea of the film, showing the trailer to people living abroad, they they right away say that it looks like a western. uh, but for me it was very natural because it's the way the people dress there, is the way things are there. Actually, yeah, that's the original region where some westerns were placed, like in this region of California, or the old California, the original California.
Like the
Actually, that
whole
town is Baja
California.
California in Mexico. The whole California. So yeah, it actually had that vibe, and then I decided like to include this vibe also because I was playing with the idea that for me the race, I'm not a very fan of the race myself. I know about the race since I was a kid because the race always cross our town. So
Did you like
I
the
was thinking
race?
about the race.
Were you a
Uh,
fan?
Not at all. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of the race, but I don't want to like to say like, yeah, the race is bad. The race is good because I know there are some films about the race already. People that like the race, or people that dislike the race, because it can it has both sides. No, it can be good for some of the towns, but at the same time destroy some parts of the nature. So there is always this kind of that encounters between the people that like the race and don't like the race. So I don't wanted to make a film about like disliking or liking the race. The film was more about I wanted to do this. For me, the race was some kind of how can I say it, like some kind of metaphor of the relationship this part of Mexico has with the U.S. uh, because it represents very well something that happens, but in these two regions, like the because this region is like the more isolated in Mexico. It's very separated from the center of Mexico. Some people there even doesn't feel as Mexicans if you compare it with the central Mexican vibe. But at the same time, they don't feel themselves like from the US. So yeah, it's this kind of lost identity that is always like in the air there. So I wanted to do something that represents like the what is the identity of this place, because I as someone from there felt like very important to make a film about the identity of the place I born. Uh, so yeah, that's how. But at the same time, I wanted to make like a funny film, like a film that was enjoyable, and the people that lives in that place can enjoy the film, not a very serious film. So for me, putting the western tone in the film was some way to not be that serious. Like to play with this idea, like, yeah, there is these guys that are ignored by the big race, and they want to deal with this kind of big enemy that is always in there and is approaching. And that is very common in the western narrative. There is always like this kind
Right.
of very desolated towns, and they always talking about this big enemy that no one can defeat them. And there is these guys that are like nobody believes that they can fight this enemy. So I wanted to put like this kind of epic in the film. So yeah, I thought, okay, doing it into a western style. I even try to kind of apply this kind of very classical structure in the film, because for me it was like, yeah, let's play with this, because maybe it helps to make it feel like we are having fun also with this kind of relation between the western, what is the west, So yeah, I think that's how it started like to be more and more and more in the film. And also the musicians, it's very common in this kind of music genre to in the music videos by them, like to play in this way and to dress this kind of yeah, of hats on this kind of colors. So yeah, I integrated it, and it looked like a western
Well, but let
already.
me ask you about that, about your, you know, your corridos. Like, how did you find those particular guys when you were shooting? How did you put that together?
Yeah, we found the original guys uh, in one town that was when we were doing the research. We were doing the film just about like how people that lived in very isolated towns deal with the fact that the race was crossing their towns. That's how I started with these interviews, like trying also to get a character, but also like have this kind of feeling of the whole town. Uh, and then we met these guys that were playing corridos. Corridos is the most popular regional music from that zone of Mexico. And corridos are always about the heroes of those towns. It's always stories about they started in the Mexican Revolution, people that fighted in the Mexican Revolution. The towns composed corridos for them as a way to say thank you, to fight for our town. And then also because it wasn't like television or radio in some of those towns, and that was also a way to share the news between some of these towns. Like they composed a song, and some musicians learned that song and played it in a different town, and that's how the news spread. So it was always about heroes. And then we met this guy that were playing corridos already about these pilots, the racing pilots, the pilots that came from abroad across their towns. So there were the heroes for these guys. So I already like that mix for me was like, whoa, this is mind blowing. I want to use that in the film. And then I wanted just to use like the original corridos, but then at some point we decided together, guys, you want to be the narrators of my film, so I started to compose with them the
Wow.
music of the corridos. It was very funny because we came like from each shooting, and then as I was like editing the film or writing the script, I was like deciding like, okay, this happened, so let's include the before we did like all the real like this more observational documentary style, like following the real characters. And then when we had that, we started like to write with it the story. So I was yeah, I was writing the corridos with them. I did the lyrics, and then they did the music. So it was like a very close collaboration. It was also the first time I was writing music.
Oh man, super talented, man. That's amazing. I wanted to know about, you know, they're writing these songs about their heroes, these racers. How did you want to handle the driving scene, the racing scenes, especially, you know, there was that big accident. How did you approach that? What was your strategy?
Uh, yeah, but about the race, as I said, I didn't want like to say something like bad or something good. Even at first, my idea, because I'm not a fan of the races, were to show like the issues that are related in the towns where this race cross, because they are very isolated places. They are very ignored by the rest of Mexico from any place. You can feel like how there is a lot of the stuff that they need, and they are always like ignored and displaced. But I don't want at the same time to make like this sad film. Actually, even if I wanted to, if I tried to do something like more sad or something like more close to what these people doesn't have, it was impossible because also the character of these people in these towns was always like very upgoing. They were always like happy, even if I asked like something bad, they were laughing at themselves. Like, yeah, we don't have. It's impossible to have connection here. It's impossible to have anything here. And they were laughing, saying that they are always like making fun of themselves. So so yeah, so even the characters like the race. They made me like the race with them. If I try like to say, okay, let's do something that maybe speaks more about like the issues related with it, they were like, no, but the race is cool and you have to see it. So I wanted like to have this contradiction in the film also. So yeah, it was kind of a contradiction that I enjoyed. Uh, yeah,
Yeah.
discovering like how they celebrate a race that can sound like something that destroys at first sight.
You have the three
At the end, I
main.
think that's a relationship. Huh?
No, I just wanted to,
Okay.
no, I didn't mean to interrupt, but you had the three main guys, that your film follows, and the driver, the former driver, the journalist. Well, have they seen the film? What did they think of when you were talking to them and following them? Have they seen the final product? Or what were their thoughts of the overall film?
Yeah, I was showing them like always pieces of the film. It was very funny how it started. Like they were taking it like something more serious and more real. Like, yeah, you are showing my life, then you have like some responsibility with it, and I felt that. But at some point, they were very conscious about that this was a film. So it was also a very funny process because we started to have ideas for scenes together. They started to suggest stuff and to be like very for they were like very clear that, okay, this is a film. This is just this piece of me. So let's play with it, and yeah, let's do it. And that's where we started to do these scenes like with Rigo dressed, and also it almost like an astronaut or something. They always started to get more wild to include them. They were in the shootings of some of the songs, for example. They were there like watching how we were making these shootings. So yeah, the final product, I haven't had a physical premiere in Baja California Sur. It's very sad. I'm very sad because with all this COVID situation, like this dream I had, like, yeah, I will get a big place, the biggest cinema in the town to show to the whole town. I really want that experience, and it has been impossible to do it. So it has been like very stressful for me also, because I have showed them a lot of parts of the movie. They were very close in all the creation, but at the same time, I want like to conserve some surprises for them, because we want. I had a talk with them like some days ago, like with Rigo, for example, because I was Rigo. We are getting into festivals. People is watching your film, and you haven't watched like the film, like the full film. What can we do? We can make an online session, so we can all watch it together and talk after that. And he was like, no, I want you to come. Because it was like some experience that we wanted to have together. So yeah, it's very sad that I cannot travel now. Actually, when all the quarantine started, I wasn't in Mexico. Right now I'm in Brussels because I'm doing a master here. Also in documentary, I'm making like documentaries here in Belgium. Uh, and now I'm trapped here. I cannot even go back to Mexico right now because it's like
Wow.
the worst situation. Yeah, yeah, it has been difficult for us. So this COVID situation, also for the premiere, like we had the premiere in Vision Zurel, and I was like super excited to have the finally like a world premiere of the film. And then yeah, it has to be online. I think it was one of the first festivals to announce themselves like everything will be online. So it was also an experiment. We don't know what will happen. We still don't know what will happen. Nobody knows what will
Well,
happen.
I would say that we at Doc
Yeah.
NYC love the film, and we're glad that you're with us as well. So thank you so much, Jose, for sharing your film with us and all of our audience as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope like more people will enjoy the film.